We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
World Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Jana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.
She was told that she couldn't play with the boys. She was told that they were too big, too rough, too strong. She was told to give up her dreams and move on. She was told to just be pretty, be quiet, be a lady. She was told that women had to stay on their side of the court, stay in your lane. Playing and competing with men was insane. She was told that men and women would never be equal. Dreaming like that would only be lethal to your mind, to your soul. She never listened. She knew that their thinking was old. She was magic. She is the definition of spirit. She is what champions are made of. She is now.
Greetings and welcome to Access Wealth Nation on the Soul City Broadcasting Network. I'm Dr. Jana B. Woodhouse, and today we're going to talk about getting you cleared up from your check with the neck up from the head up. And with the neck up from the head up, that's how I usually say. Lord knows it's been a while that we've had an opportunity to talk to each other. This is the time that so many things are happening. I know some of you have heard about the infrastructure bill that has now turned into law, and we got to get our infrastructures together and get us together and ready to make a difference economically. And, you know, if you don't have a plan, then you're planning to fail. So, of course, for us here at Access Wealth Nation, we always offer you the opportunity of getting a free financial analysis, and it is free, no obligation. The key is that it's to help you structure yourself and get towards your goals and your dreams. We got to dream. During this time of the year, everybody talks about what they want to do and then come up with resolutions that they definitely don't keep. But the thing is that we've got to really start to keep some of them and make our lives a phenomenal one. That being said, of course, we also have the How Money Works. Looking for let me slide over a little bit. Excuse me for this. How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker book. And those of you who would love to have the book, I think you should have it. It'll make a great gift also. And guess what? You don't have to even pay for it. You just have to ask for it, and we will send this to you. You have to go to Anaj Enterprises Inc. at gmail.com and say you want the book, that you saw us on Access Wealth Nation and you want the book. The only thing I ask you to do is and promise that you're going to read it. It takes all of a whopping hour to read. This book has had over 500,000 in distribution, and it's the #1 financial book out there on the market. Why? Because it's easy to read. It got pictures. So that being said, you've really got to look at the opportunities of what you have to do, because no one's going to do anything for you. Everything that they give you, they can take away. Look what's happening to the child tax credit. It's supposed to come all the way, it's supposed to be for a whole year. Now they're talking about, well, the last payment will be December, and then we'll figure it out going forward. We got to stop all of that stuff. We've got to do and build for ourselves, and prepare. And we've got a new tax season coming up. World's getting ready to change. That being said, I thought today I would talk about business structure, and I have a special guest for those of you who are in business for yourself, that you stay tuned and make sure that if you have any questions or comments, please put it in the chat section. We will definitely address it because we want to help you. It's all about helping. So I thought I'd go through a few little elements here, which is the structure of business. And the first structure that we all know is called a sole proprietorship. That means that you just go to the county, the county clerk's office, you fill out a paper, and then you get an opportunity to get a certificate. And you can get those certificates after they've been stamped, but you got to get it. You can get it from Staples, any of the stores, and get it notarized. And then you got to get your tax ID. But the pro to it is that you get a structure. The con to it is you have no protection at all. Your assets are the business's assets. So nothing changes. There's no separation of business and person. So that can cause some difficulty finance-wise, and that's not going to work. So the next one would be a partnership, which I'll give my disclaimer. Partnerships are like marriages. So, just as fast as you get together and you're happy, happy, joy, joy, you better have a way that you can split up and disperse, because partners are considered one. So that's either where you have one partner, one extra partner, 2, 3, whatever. There's still unlimited personal liability out there. So you definitely I don't think would want to, but you can always consult a financial advisor, or there are people who are legal lawyers who can help you to deal with your structure. The good part about it is that, as opposed to the sole proprietorship, you are paying taxes on it. And not only that, but if you have income, you've got more income to pay because you got what they call pass through. The income is yours. So therefore you got to pay self-employment tax. So you got personal tax and then self-employment tax. Oh Lord, more tax. So it's more or less like a double tax on you. Whereas with the partnership, it passes through and you get the opportunity to not have to pay self-employment tax. And also the fact is that you're sharing. But again, partnerships are like marriages. So you must understand that might lead you in a situation, if you're not on the one accord, where you can't do the things that you want to do. So many people out here, and I'm about to scream because I'm going to say it, is they got LLCs, limited liability companies. Everybody gets one. And then they don't know what they're doing with it. A limited liability company is a state entity, and you have must figure out how you're being taxed when you get that tax ID number. So there are some flexibilities to the tax structure, because you could be a limited liability one member, that you're getting a Schedule C, just like you had a sole proprietorship. Or it could be a partnership. Well, that means more than one person, and therefore it's treated and taxed like a partnership. Or it could be taxed like an S Corp or a corporation. These are the opportunities. The beautiful thing in it is that you can have that flexibility. So 1 year I'm one way, I just tell IRS what I'm going to do and change my structure. Then comes, as I mentioned, the S Corp, and the S Corp is a pass-through entity. It's a little bit on a more upscale. You don't have to worry about self-employment tax, thank God. And therefore also you can change the type of entity, who's involved in the entity, without going through a lot. But the thing is, with an S Corp, you must have your records correct, because if not, an attorney can come through and pierce your corporate veil. So what do you do? What things do you have to do? You have to have your board meetings, even if you're a board of one. Yes, you can be a board of one. But if you are a board of one, you better have your meetings, your minutes of your meetings, keeping your records, your corporate records. But the beauty in it is if you're spending money out of your pocket and you would like to be able to deduct it from your personal taxes, that's an opportunity there to get the benefit of it. And then, of course, there's the infamous C corp. The C corp is a total separated corpus body from you. You don't incorporate it in your personal taxes. You can draw an income from it, but it is a totally separate entity from you as a person. So that gives you the opportunity to do other things. And I know people have certain restrictions on their life as far as earnings. You earn, the corporation earns, but it's totally separate from you. You do have to disclose, though, if you are receiving some type of income or shares from that corporation. Corporation does well, you do well. Corporation doesn't do so well, you don't do so well. But it is another structure that allows you to build your business. But you should consult. Whenever you're dealing with building your business, you need to consult with your financial advisor or attorney, what I call your team. You need to have an attorney on board. You need to have a financial advisor. You need to have an accountant that will work with you. And some people say, well, I can't afford all those people. I tell folks, find out how much does it cost for 1 hour? How much does it cost for a half an hour? I know y'all seen that movie, I'm Going to Get You Sucker. One rib. How much is a whole rib? How much, you got to come up with the idea of how much can I afford, and make sure you have your questions in writing so you can go boom, 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 and get the attorney to or the accountant to talk with you, because people's time is money. So you have to respect it, and you do have to pay them. But if the attorney's fee is $400, what can they do for $200? That's a half an hour. See what they can do to work with you and be a part of your team. So these are the things that are so important. Also, before we go any further and I introduce my guest, I want to just say to you, if you have any questions, topics that you are really interested in and that you would love us to address, just send us an email at anagenterprisesinc@gmail.com and we will address it. I think it's time for us to get financially literate. And that's my goal, is to at least make thousands of families in this country financially literate. And that being said, there's so many levels of what we call the 7 milestones of financial freedom. One level is called debt, and either creating debt or getting out of debt, consolidating debt, whatever. But to do that, you need to talk to a professional. And I've got a real professional, a real top of the line and down to earth. Make sure that he talks to us on a level that we understand, not over our heads. And so with great pleasure, I bring on my brother from another mother, definitely, Mr. Tyrone Glover from Leverage Your Credit.
Hello there, Miss Jana. How are you?
How are you doing?
I'm doing
My
great.
credit doctor. I tell folks, I'm not joking, guys. They must have created that song for him, because, when you're in trouble with your credit, don't know where to go, you better call on Tyrone.
Yo, that is, again, just the best welcome that anyone could ever possibly want. Thank you so much, as always, for having me. I love coming onto your show. You are, again, someone that I truly admire and truly love and respect, because I keep saying it's the year of the woman. It's the year of the woman. You've been doing it clearly prior to, well, let me rephrase that. It's the decade of the woman. And you've been
all right, we ready to do this.
Many a moons. So always, whenever you call on me, I am always there.
Yes, you are. And I'm so thankful to you, and definitely welcome to Access Wealth Nation.
Thank you.
Of course, I tell everybody so we don't forget is that Tyrone has his own show on the Soul City Network on Tuesdays at 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. And it is powerful. You've got an hour of power. You got to go to leveragecreditrecovery@gmail.com if you have a question, but you need to also get to him to get a consult because most of us, our credit is not a good situation. So we think that it's just like when we get diagnosed with something. If we ignore it, it'll go away. No, it gets worse. So Tyrone, so before because you, me, and we can get into it. I just wanted you to address a question that has come up many times on my show, which is the idea of how does a company get a credit card? So you've started your company, and you're working the business. It's happening. You got your bank account. You've got things working, but you're using debit cards that are your personal debit card. That's not good. So how does one transition into getting a credit card for their business? And also, I'd like you to address one more thing: is the Dun and Bradstreet. Okay.
Excellent. Well, those are always super impressive questions. I love it. I think more people need to ask those questions because we're fearful of asking questions because you're only going to get the truth from here. You're only going to get the truth from Dr. Jana. You're only going to get the truth from, again, your dress down CEO, Tyrone Glover, because it's all about that. So getting business credit is really not that hard. It's kind of just like the same thing when you're doing your own credit. You got to seek out an entity that's willing to address your concern. Once they're willing to address your concern, they're going to ask you for some documents. They're going to ask you for some information. If you can provide that information to their liking, guess what they're going to do? They're going to reward you with that credit line or that credit card or whatever verbiage they tend to use. And it's just real simple. Once you get it, abide by the contractual understanding. That's it. There's a lot of entities out there that are offering, especially now. There's a lot of liquidity, as Jana brought up, the infrastructure bill. There's going to be another one coming down here. Also, there's going to be a ton of money pumped into the economy. And if you miss out,
oh, wow.
My apologies. If you miss out because of your data, then that's going to be your own downfall. Not necessarily your downfall, but it's going to be, again, something that you can prevent, just getting in front of it. So there are entities out there that are willing and able to guide you through the process. Start now. Don't wait. Start now. Start tomorrow. Start in a few hours after you get out of here. Call me up or call Jana up. We can get you going right now. That's the importance of wanting to get what you probably have already thought about getting, and now it's the time to start. So, I mean, I can talk. So someone can tell me, chime, move on to the next question.
No, that's important. So the entities, what do they ask for though, for real? Like when you're ready to do the credit, do you just set it up because your credit is good and you just apply and put the business on it?
They're going to always look at your personal credit, no question about that, because they want to see how well do you do for yourself. And then they're going to not attach it to your personal. They're going to then look at your business credit. They're going to say, do you have invoices? Do you have an active situation with other creditors that is being reported? If you have nothing being reported, they're going to put you in a program, and you brought up Dun & Bradstreet, that's going to start reporting it for you. And those of you who are doing business right now, you should be asking your vendors, hey, Staples, hey, start with the small entity that you frequent so often for your stationery. Ask them, do they have a relationship with Dun & Bradstreet? That will get you started. And then from there, those of you who are in the restaurant industry, go to these places where you get all of your foods, your goods and services from. Ask them, hey, do you have a relationship with Dun & Bradstreet? That's going to serve you so well. You've probably already have relationships that you don't know of, and they can go back and they can reestablish something from, say, 6 months or a year ago, and then you might be able to get your business credit almost like that. That would help you get that new oven or get that new refrigerator or whatever it is that you might be in dire need of right now. So yes, Dun & Bradstreet is
So you would ask the people that you do business, because most of us, we have, especially for those who do brick and mortar service type businesses, we have we do business like with a Staples. We have a credit line, usually with them, or we have some kind of monitoring system that we're buying from them, as being a good client, I guess. So it's more so there. So once you do that, let's say you get there and you got a relationship with a company, then what you ask them for is if they have a relationship with Dun and Bradstreet.
That is correct. Yes. Dun and Bradstreet is more like the Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. They're just going to report out. They report all of your relationships that you have with your creditors. And being that they're one of the largest nationally known, there are other entities out there that do the exact same thing. There's the one called NAV, NAV. It also, again, helps with entities or established businesses build business credit. Because as you said, we're using our debit cards. We're using our, hopefully you're not intermingling your bank accounts. You definitely want to keep things separate, because that's one of the things that they're going to be looking at too. They're going to be asking you, how come you have so much resources here if this is supposed to be your business account? My apologies for that fire truck or
it's okay. We in New York City.
And we're live, and this is the good thing about being live. We're right there in the mix of everything. But yes, Dun and Bradstreet is an excellent resource. NAV is an excellent resource. I'm looking here on a couple of websites right now. If you were to go to business credit bloggers, there's 15 top business credit reporting agencies. There's something called All Businesses, where they show you the top 10 business reporting bureaus. And again, don't get caught up into the verbiage or the names. These are all private entities, entities making money. So your job is to have someone like a Jana and a Tyrone in your back pocket who already knows how to navigate through to help you, making sure that you get the right entity that's going to be for your business.
Got it. Okay. So as people are starting their businesses, what would you say as far as establishing themselves? What should they be doing? Because do they treat it the same way as they establish their credit with their individual selves? Is it that, you start off maybe with what is a secured card?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Go ahead. My apologies.
No, that's good. Is that so you start with that and then you start to mount so that the card is in the business name? Because a lot of the cards, like our banks give us cards, but then they also put our name on it.
And that is exactly a way of exactly thinking about it. Yes, your name as the business owner will be on your business card. Again, it's separate from you, the private citizen. So, but they just have to have a point of contact on the business card. Or you can tell them, nope, I don't want a point of contact. I just want the business name on that. They'll do that too. If you already have a banking relationship where they can already gather some data that you've been doing well for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, automatically you're going to have something that Dun & Bradstreet or NAV can go to already. You just haven't established that with those types of entities and grown that piece yet. So that's what we have to do. We have to look at, am I just being served by one party, meaning my bank? Is there other opportunities that I could be getting by dealing with a Dun & Bradstreet? Dun & Bradstreet is about business. Your bank is about overall everything. So you want to have someone who's more specific. And you brought up that point about secured cards. Well, secured cards are always the best way if you're just starting out. It's a small amount that you could use just for, like we were just talking about, your staples. You can use it for your staples, your stationery, 500, 600, whatever you are using in a month. That's a great way of getting started. Once you're starting to 6 months, a year in, just like anything with a reevaluation. The banks are always going to reevaluate you. The Dun & Bradstreets, the NABs, they're going to equally always reevaluate you because they want to make sure that you're someone that, when you do come for a larger amount, that you're someone who can meet the contractual arrangement, agreement, or, as we've already talked about, relationship. It's just a word. We have to live up to those understandings.
Well, I truly understand about relationships. I tell business folks, especially if you're in business for yourself, you need to know your banker. They need to be your friend. When you walk in the bank, well, we used to walk in the bank. You would get the opportunity to talk to the banker. And I say, when you're opening up an account, you should get to know not the customer service people. They're nice people, but they can't do anything for you. You need to get to the folks who can say, okay, we can extend you a $500 or $1,000 credit.
The decision
Because
makers.
credit is, I hate to say it, king, because that's what people look at. If no one will loan you money, then you can't get any money. And so, I have a client of mine. That's where this came from. A client of mine, she started her business, an independent consulting firm, and she has credit cards, but they're all in her name alone. And so she was trying to even, just get the bank to or give her a credit card in the business name, and they wouldn't do it. So in that case, okay, one thing is that you just say I'm leaving the bank, but the other, because she has considerable amounts of money, but the thing is also, what else could she do to get, or where could she go to get the card in her name, in the business name? I'm sorry.
And again, entities. Go to Credit Karma. Go to all of these new internet types of situations that are now financial situations that are now emerging. There's one out there called Oxygen. I'm using them currently for my personal, and they have a great business account that you can start establishing. There are so many. Always do your due diligence. Just don't jump into a relationship with somebody and you don't know enough about them. They're new. They're even the old ones. We know a lot about Chase. We know a lot about Wells Fargo. We know a lot about these established ones, which some of them, I believe, like Wells Fargo, should not even be operating with all of the shenanigans that they've pulled over the
They
decades.
did some serious, they are predatory lenders, Lord knows.
Horrible. But again, it is what it is, and it's sad that we, as people who are now in our later stages of life with the grays and things of that nature, which is again, we are your wealth of knowledge. We're not your dissatisfied customer, and we're not equally your most happy and rewarded customer. We're right there in that middle, and they've underestimated us because they didn't think that we were going to do what most people don't do who look like us, which is, I really don't need credit. I can go the rest of my life without credit. I'm just going to use cash, or no, these are literally things that are hurting so many of us because we're not using the resources that are there, whether it be your personal life or whether it be your business life. You have to establish a great relationship with these financial institutions, regardless of whether you like them or you don't. There are enough of them out there. More than enough.
Yeah, you can definitely connect to. I see we have a question. If you have $10,000 in the bank, can you borrow $5,000 from the bank? I assume I would be using my own account as collateral.
Your account as collateral? Yes, absolutely, because they're going to want to make sure if you miss a payment, they can go to somewhere where they can grab that payment. But if you don't miss the payment, guess what? You'll get that 5, and then you can turn around, but I need another 10 or I need another 15. You're establishing those relationships that are going to allow for your bank to say, sure, if they know that you have something there, they're really not going to fret or worry, because guess what? The money that you're borrowing is in the same entity as where whether it be your personal account or your business account, is also there. So they're not going to worry about that too much unless your credit is not suitable, or if you've had some previous misunderstandings with that bank, say a year or two ago. And even though Equifax, TransUnion, Experian only hold on to that information for 7 years by law, the entity itself doesn't have to do that. So they can hold on to it for 20, 30 years and go back to you and say, well, back in 1900 dirt, you did do X, Y, Z. So we're going to hold you accountable to that. Again, know your audience equally. They should know you, the consumer, as well.
Definitely. I see we're being joined by one of our producers. Okay, I'm sure that was an error. So the other question that I would think of is that if you go to the Credit Karmas, you're trying to build, how long does it take you to build?
And this is that really tricky question, because what we found out again, I've been doing this now for about just a little over 15, probably in my 16th or 17th year. And I love it. I love it. I'm a fanatic about credit because, again, we are fanatics about sports. We're fanatics about food. We're fanatics about whether it be our hair, or we have these things that we just indulge ourselves in. I've indulged myself in credit because it's been something that has always eluded me, and I refuse to let it elude any more of us because of the things that we do not know. But to get to the question, the best way and that was build credit, right?
Yes.
The best way to build credit is to make sure that you're doing your part, paying on time. That's number one. It's 35% overall. No matter what you look at, it's 35% just on time, and also equally your utilization. This is where we're finding the biggest issues, and it goes back to the reporting. They're not reporting according to the way that they should be reporting. There's two contracts. They're in a relationship with us, the consumer, and they're equally in a relationship with the entity that has lent us. Now, with us, the consumer, we're, again, hypothetical numbers here. So if your due date is on the 1st, and they tell you, again, because they're going to send you a statement, they're telling you your due date is on the 1st. That's the contract. That means they're delivering that contract, telling you it's on the 1st. But then you have to call them and you have to ask them, hey, it's due on the 1st, meaning I have to make that payment. When is it being reported? So that's the part that you were more or less alluding to. Are we building it properly? Well, you can only build it properly if they report it properly.
So the date that you are due, the due date that you get, is not the date that they reported?
No, it is not. There is a 4 to 5, maybe even sometimes a 7-day lag. So yes, exactly. If you use your product directly after, and this is the bet that they already know. They know most of us are going to need to use our product almost a day or two right after. So if there's a 4 or 7-day lag, if you use your product, say you maxed out. We use my hands right here. You maxed out, and then you brought it down to, say, 30, you brought it down to 70%. You literally paid from $1,000, you paid $700, so you now have a $300 balance. So that means you brought it down 70%. If you turn around and you use it right after you brought it down a day later or 2 days later before it reports, now that's the most important part, reports. It's got to report, meaning got to go to Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian so they can put those numbers into their system. But what's happening is that they're not. You're using your product after the time frame, your utilization goes back up. So if you brought it down and you go out and spend $200, it's back now about 50%. You go out and you spend another $100, it's now at 60%. So when they report it, it's going to show your utilization is now off. It's not going to be what it was when you made that initial payment. So it's really important to understand, if they're not reporting it properly, it's going to slow down your growth, the way that your credit gets reported. So that's going to obviously take a longer time to get to that number, those ideal numbers that's going to get you credit. And most of us don't know that. So that's a tricky question. Not necessarily tricky that you asked it, but it was a little bit trickier in the explanation. You have to.
So Tyrone, the thing is that we should be calling our credit card companies and saying, when is your reporting period?
That's it. When do you report to Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian? You have to create a log, and we have a log for you. So don't go out and create another one. I got one for you. Call Tyrone, and I'll definitely make sure that you have it. But yes, you have to. There's a question right there. I raised my credit score.
Okay, Matt's saying is I raised my credit score nearly 100 points in less than a year by following. I'm sure he's saying Tyrone, but it's right. The throne advice. Tyrone's advice. So yeah, you got to get to Tyrone. You know, we sit back and we think, I don't know really why in our community people are like, I got to get debt free. I must get debt free. And we're in a capitalistic society. What in the world are you talking about? You need to get debt free. You need to use other people's money While yours is growing in an investment, you use other people's money, and then you can, if you get caught and you can't balance it, then you go pay from your money. But I had a client recently, and it was really driving me crazy because she wanted to take money out of her retirement account to pay off her debt because she had lost her job. So she wanted to pay off her debt. And I said, as if you're never going to make any more debt. If that's the case, if you're never going to have any debt, you have no bills, no nothing, then at that point, if that's the case, then okay, I can see it. You just don't want to owe nobody owe you. You don't want anything. You don't want to get a house. You don't want credit cards. Okay. But that's not life. That's not realistic.
No.
Oh, we got a question here. Okay.
Yes.
Credit card. I guess I had a credit card was recently hacked. I received a call from an online lender trying to verify if I had applied for a $8,000 home improvement loan. What do I do? What should I do?
Well, you got to be definitely careful, obviously, that, again, protect your information. You can put freezes on everything that you have. Equifax, TransUnion, Experian, it doesn't cost anything. They'll put a freeze on your account, and I would definitely recommend that to everybody. Go out and put a freeze on. The only issue with a freeze is that if you forget you have that freeze on and you go to apply for something, you won't get that item, and then you'll be sitting there scratching your head wondering why my credit's good or my situation is good. It's because you have a freeze on it. So it's okay. Put that
freeze means nothing can happen on it.
Freeze means absolutely nothing can happen. This is actually good for this consumer because of the fact that at least someone called him.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't get the call. Sometimes you'll look at your account and all of a sudden you'll see a whole new account up there, or you'll see a entry, a line item on your credit report, and then by that time it's already too late. There's a word two words that I learned during the Trump impeachment. It's called adverse inference. Adverse inference means if you don't respond to something, they're going to automatically assume that you were that person. So it's really important, whether you get something in the mail from a creditor or debt collector, whatever it is, respond to it. If you don't know how to respond to it, reach out to somebody who can help you. Stop letting things like that elude you. But that question from that consumer was a brilliant question because of the fact that they got a call. They got a call from someone who said, hey, are you searching for? That led him to now go out and say, no, I wasn't. Now go back, put a freeze on your credit. And then this way you can kind of keep a closer eye. You can now dive back into it. And also equally, just it's critically important, get rid of all of these monitoring situations. Go to annual credit report and just collect the data. Stop paying My FICO. Stop paying Identity IQ. Stop paying all of these sesames. I see that guy on the TV who be going, my man, because somebody got the credit score thing right. It's like, really? Come on, really? Okay. But stop. Annual credit report. Think of it this way. If your test is wrong, your score is wrong. And that's how we have to think about it. If the test, the data is the test. The data is the information that compiles the score. If that's wrong, because just think of it like this. Johnny got 100 on the test. I got an 80. But I went back and looked at the question number 10, and it was the same as Johnny's question number 10. So how is mine wrong and Johnny's right? Follow me? That's data. So that means somewhere something was obviously missed. The teacher might have overlooked it. But today we're dealing with algorithms. We're dealing with situations that we should not be dealing with. It's not people any longer. It's computers. And these computers are being programmed to fit the business's bottom line, not to help you, the consumer. And that's where we're making these mistakes.
Because it's interesting you bring that up, and the caller made that statement, because recently I went paperless on one of my credit cards. And so therefore, I really liked the paper because I would open it up and look at it and check to see if everything's right. So a few months ago, they gave a special raffle for turning paperless. So I did it. And then I looked just recently, as a matter of fact, the beginning of the week, And like you said, there's someone who has gotten a hold of my card, and it was a repetitive amount that was charged. And so I got on the phone and called the people who were taking the charge.
Mm-hmm.
I normally would call the credit card, but the spirit told me call them. And when I called, he says, "Oh, I'm sorry, we'll reverse it." It was a gaming site. And I said, he said, I said, "What is this?" And he said, "It's a gaming site." He says, "Did you pay for some games?" And I said, "Number one, not at $86.61. But the other thing is that on top of it, I said, I ain't playing no games, and I'm definitely not paying to play a game."
Hello.
And so he took it off. I'm waiting now because I called the credit card company after he said he was going to reverse it. I called the credit card company and they said, "Well, we see where they're being slowly but surely, the charges are being reversed." And so he says, "Let them reverse it and then we'll change the card. But let them reverse it first." And so I wasn't happy with that because I was feeling like, okay, I'm out there. But he said it. And so the credit card company said, "Let's see. And if not," now this is something that was a little different than what I just heard, is that because it's always since September that this been going on. So I didn't report it then, but as I'm hearing, it could be that they can't do anything about it, but I'm thinking they can, especially once they see the reversals taking place, that if they don't reverse them all, then, because that was 5 times that they did it. That's a lot of money.
Absolutely.
And so, it's one thing is that I think more so to tell the audience, you got to fight with a vengeance. Because you think about it, if somebody went into your pocket or pocketbook and took out money every month or every other month or every other week, you would be real upset and fight them with a vengeance. So the same thing is with your credit card, because the other part to it is that I've been trying to increase my credit score because I really want to see that 800. Don't ask me why. I just think I want to see 800.
I know why. 0%. 0%.
Yeah, that's
why.
So to get there, I got to keep things going. And sometimes I'll ask this question is, sometimes your credit is good and the credit card company keep increasing your balance and they keep increasing it. And after a while, I'm like, okay, that's enticing because something comes up, you wind up using it, and I'm like, got to have some discipline. Having a budget is important. How much? Because I learned from you that 23% and below is important.
Oh, no question.
And I'm doing it, So I suggest everybody use that element that you got to stay at 23%. And I know we don't like to do math, but 23%, if you got to go get your little calculator on your phone and calculate. This is my entire credit line. What is times 23? And then you'd be better off just putting 20 because that's easier to do.
And it's again, you bring up a very important piece is that math. I think Bill Clinton said it at one time. Oh, not Bill Clinton. Yang said it's math, and I love that guy. I mean, I think he's really brilliant when it comes to that. I don't know if he could ever be a president, but his points of view as to what we should be focusing on is that math. They keep saying it, and they've been saying it lately. Bill Clinton said it way back when. It's about the economy, stupid. So yes, the credit is part of the economy. And if you're not using that credit, you're going to lose. You're going to lose out. You're going to lose out. Other people's money is definitely where you can make a huge killing. And you got to start documenting. You got to find, even if you can't do it. And I tell everybody, I'm not going to operate on myself. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to go and try to do something that I know I can't do. Find an entity that can help you. There's a lot of companies out there that are nonprofit organizations. They might not have that wherewithal like I do, but again, at least find somebody who can sit down with you and maybe steer you in the right direction. But since you have us, come to us. Just come, reach out to Access Wealth Nation, reach out to Soul City Network, reach out to Leverage Credit Recovery. We're here to help you. We don't want to see our people continue to struggle for no reason. And that fighting, we'll fight for you. I'm looking at the legal profession now as they're not fighting, they're settling. No matter what you think about the legal profession, I would love to have some legal experts on my show so I can go back and joust with them for a little bit, because they're not really fighting. They're looking out for their bottom line. So find advocacy groups, find individuals like myself who are about literally, I'm going for the jugular. I'm hitting right in the face of all of these entities that have been walking over us all the time. Not just over us, but on us. Again, Reverend Al said it best. All we need them to do is get off our neck.
Our necks. I hear you. We got a question also. To apply for a business credit card, what does one need to do that? I think he sort of said it was going to be like you'd have to put up your credit for it.
It's a regular application that you can find on, again, Credit Karma. Use these free sites. Don't get bought into the gimmicks. Whatever they're offering, this, the miles. If you're someone who travels, that's fine. Then go ahead and get a card that's going to give you miles. But don't get bought into the 2%, the 1%. Don't let your favorite actor or your favorite TV personality get up there trying to talk about, oh, I scream a lot, so I'm going to, get my card, or Samuel L. Again, love these guys as far as their crafts when it comes to acting, but just think about it. They're acting for Citibank. They're acting for whomever is putting them in front of that camera. We're not acting here. This is real life. This is real life circumstances, real life situations that someone like myself who has gone out and educated and informed, and I'm still going to constantly keep doing it. Like that show, Fanatics. There's a sports person out there who he owns, from my understanding, all the licensee of almost every sports company. He's a fanatic. I'm a fanatic about credit because we need to understand how it works, what's preventing us from living the lifestyle that we want to live, not according to someone else's understanding, but according to our understanding. Credit is super important, and we got to get better at it. And if you don't have the all the due diligence to do it on your own, by all means, you're talking to two people who can get you to where you want to be if you want to be there.
Well, we've got something coming up. These holidays are coming. And again, Black Friday didn't start on the day after Thanksgiving. It started already. I had a friend of mine come by and said, Macy's got stuff 50%. And I'm like, boy, they trying to get our dollar. What would you suggest for folks who are wooed into this crazy? To me, I tell folks the holidays is a holiday. And that's not a holla month, not a holla year. It's a holiday. And so you don't have to, okay, we go out. Food prices are exceedingly high right now. I would say almost 40% up from last year. So, but I'm seeing people use their credit cards to buy food. I see folks I'll be honest, it blew my mind how brainwashed, and I'm going to say it, and I'm going to call y'all out for it. Brainwashed. I was on a train, that's been a while, but I was on a train and the man was asking for help. He wasn't asking for help for food. He wasn't asking for help for clothing. He was asking for help to buy a Christmas present. I'm like, are you out of you ain't got no place to live. You ain't got no clothes on your back. And you want to buy your child a gift. I know this sounds cruel. I know it does. But get real. The child need to eat. And a toy will only last but a moment. I remember my mom, and again, I'm attributing this show to my mom, who her birthday's on November the 21st. God bless her. She's up there in heaven. And today I'm wearing purple because this is pancreatic awareness month, pancreatic cancer awareness month. And that's what took my mom from this earth. So we got to get our physical bodies in health. But it's important, to get your priorities in order. Dinner for the family. Okay. Everybody could bring something. They don't, everybody, that one person shouldn't be stuck buying the entire meal. Number one, we got to be careful anyway, because folks is carrying all sorts of stuff these days. Food is expensive. Be cognizant of this. Is that, one person doing all the work, trying to bring the family together. And I know that's the time we use, even though it's really a terrible day because it's celebrating folks demising other people. But if you're coming together, work it out economically, do some planning. This year, usually every year, Thanksgiving is celebrated at my home. This year, since I'm part of the vegan group, turkey ain't really on my list. So I'm finding little things to do, but even vegetables cost a lot of money. But don't go and use your credit cards for buying food. Work it out, set your budget. Instead of buying food for at lunch, spending $10-15 for lunch, bring it, make it, leftovers. It works.
Let me jump in there for a second.
Sure, definitely jump in, bro.
I'm definitely going to say what you have suggested there. Absolutely. Be very aware of what you're doing with your money. But again, if you're using your debit and your cash, that's not reporting. I would definitely say use your credit card. Don't overspend by using your debit, your cash, and your credit. Okay, get that reporting for the purchases. That reporting is what's important. So definitely don't overspend. Be very, very vigilant of what you're doing. Yes, you're absolutely right. Prices of everything has gone through the roof. No question about it. Food, my biggest two expenses are food and transportation. That's it. Everything else for me is pretty much remained the same. My cell phone bill is the same. Cable bill has gone up a little bit. But again, for the most part, the major impacts of where I feel the biggest dent to my pocket is food and transportation. So yes, but I put those items on a credit purchase or a credit item because, again, as long as I meet the contractual understanding, guess what I'm going to get? I'm going to be able to pay it off, and I'm equally going to be able to turn right around and also get the increase in my credit profile. But again, it also applies with making sure that you do the due date, making sure you pay on time, and then also equally making sure that you are checking to see that they're reporting. If we're not checking about the reporting, we're setting ourselves up for failure. We are in a contractual relationship with these entities. They cannot serve two masters. They're going to have to decide, is it going to be us, the consumer, or is it going to be the business? And if it's going to be the business, then we as the consumer need to definitely start checking them and making sure that they're living up to our end. And if they're not, we have a situation in hand that we may have to seek out some necessary legal understanding to rectify that because they can't serve two masters. So yes, definitely use your credit card if you need to, meaning definitely use it because your debit and your cash is not getting any reporting.
Wait a minute. This is a statement made. Just saw that Chris Tucker owes $9.5 million in taxes. You need to call Jana. Where did he go wrong?
Don't tell me we got another Wesley Snipes on hand.
I'm like, really?
Wow.
He needs, see, this is the thing. We all think that arriving in our world of money and, the thing is, he probably didn't go wrong at all. He probably had some people taking care of his money that weren't taking care of his money. I have heard a number of people who have had managers that make it mandatory for them to stay in with the manager. They have to use the manager's accountants. And those accountants, I have seen where in some ways they haven't even filed a return in 3 to 4 years for them. They're not paid. They're just getting paid because the money is there. And that's why I say is as you move forward in life, whether you're famous or infamous, if whatever you are, make sure you're watching your money and watching what people are doing. Even when it comes down to your taxes, know what the person who's preparing the tax returns are doing. Don't just let them take it. This is crazy. And $9.5 million, what in the world? That means that either they didn't file his tax returns, because again, they don't take tax out, it's cash moving, or they messed up and filed some stuff that he shouldn't have. The bottom line is that someone at that statue should have had a trust and a foundation. Once you start making money in the millions, then you should. He says the video is on Facebook, on his Facebook page. So that's the Soul City page or the Matt McCoy page to hear about it. But the thing is that the another thing why people publicize this kind of stuff is to put fear in the public's eye. People say, just like you said, is that, oh, he's going to be like Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes really paid over $3 million in taxes when he got hit. He had paid those taxes. The problem is that he did not pay the excess, and that's where they got it. But if you look at his returns, he followed Ken Starr, which was a bad idea, but he followed Ken Starr, and Ken Starr said put zeros in the income because it asks you what is your taxable income, and he said nothing. Now, he had some jobs that did withhold taxes, and he let them take it, but nothing extra. And that's where you got to know your tax law. And you got to be set up properly. As you know, I came on here talking about business entity. You got to be in business, but you got to know and have the knowledge, and that's where people are not doing that. What you say, Tyrone? I think you mute. Is he muted?
Oh, I'm sorry. This is what I like about our shows, because we're more about the information, the education of consumers. We're more about making sure that they themselves, even if you do go out and get somebody, at least know the basics of what you're getting into. We're going to be smarter than you when it comes to that particular subject matter. And that's okay. You're going to be smarter than us when it comes to your whole life. But again, you should still know the entities, know the basis of what they're doing. And if there's something that you do not understand, ask questions. I tell my students all the time, I'm someone who has a very diverse vocabulary. I'll say words and they'll look at me like, what does that mean, Mr. Glover? What are you talking about? I don't understand that. I love that. I am so welcomed of that because of the fact that kids are going to do exactly what we want them to do. They should ask those questions. We as adults, same thing. Ask those questions if you are unsure. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not saying that you're ignorant. It's not saying that you're stupid. I hate using these words. But again, it's not saying any of that. It's just you want clarity. And questions give you clarity.
Got it. Well, this has been awesome. I appreciate you. I want to have you back because we got some more topics to talk about because you're phenomenal. I will say to y'all, if you want to know about any element of credit and moving forward, good, bad, indifference, you got to call Tyrone and go to Leverage Credit Recovery. And he calls it recovery because it's not repairing it. It is recovering it. So definitely, we got the information up on the screen, Leverage Credit Recovery at Gmail. And did we put his telephone number up too? Is 805-428-9424.
And
Use it.
really quick.
Sure.
Really quick, next week, definitely tune in. It's going to be literally a great show. We're going to be covering some topics that a lot of us have we probably never heard before, but it's super important. We are an educational program. We are all about making sure that you are well-informed, savvy consumers. There's a lot of money going to be pumped in this economy. And if you miss out, you're going to miss out because you were not informed. It's just that.
So you got to Tuesday, tune in Tuesday at 6 p.m. Be on the Facebook Live with Soul City. And, it does repeat. So, you can do that, listen to it, but nothing as good as being live because you can ask your questions and engage. It's always about engage. So the time is up. I just appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. Remember Tyrone Glover, my brother from another mother. And again, to the audience, thank you for listening in. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned to Access Wealth Nation. And of course, leverage your credit with Tyrone Glover. Have a good night. Stay safe.
Thank you. Thank you. All the best.
She was told that she couldn't play with the boys. She was told that they were too big, too rough, too strong. She was told to give up her dreams and move on. She was told to just be pretty, be quiet, be a lady. She was told that women had to stay on their side of the court, stay in your lane. Playing and competing with men was insane. She was told that men and women would never be equal. Dreaming like that would only be linked to your mind, to your soul. She never listened. She knew that their thinking was old. She is magic. She is the definition of spirit. She is what champions are made of. She is now.
World Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Jana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.